I told you we were doing something else. Conan, what is the meaning of life? Let's get that. We're going to get that on here. Conan, what is the meaning of life?
Conan, what is the meaning of life?
What is best in life? The open steppe, fleet horse, falcons at your wrist, wind in your hair. Wrong!
Wrong!
Conan, what is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
Hear the lamentation of their women.
This is good. But what is best?
Now for this. Let's go.
Greetings, bienvenue crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast. And welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
If you can.
The reality of the Hyborian Age. Know, O Prince, that between the years when the oceans drank Atlantis and the gleaming cities, and the years of the rise of the sons of Aryus, there was an age undreamed of, when shining kingdoms lay spread across the world like blue mantles beneath the stars. Robert E. Howard. John Milius, director of Conan the Barbarian, 1982, related the following story about Robert E. Howard, author of the Conan stories. He is alone one night and he feels this shadow overtake him from behind, and he knows that Conan is standing behind him with a large axe. Conan tells him, "Stay there and write, and if you don't do exactly what I am going to tell you, I am going to cleave you down the middle." He is so terrified because Conan exudes such power and fear, and he can see the axe glinting in his peripheral vision, that he writes all night. With the coming of dawn, he turns around finally and Conan is gone. So he falls upon the floor completely spent, and he realizes, I only have to sleep a few hours because then I must fortify myself, for when darkness comes again, so will Conan. And of course Conan did return, and he wrote almost all of these stories in this very short period of time, because Conan was standing over him with an axe. Was the Hyborian Age that Robert E. Howard envisioned real? Was Howard visited by the spirit of one of its greatest heroes, and given glimpses of its event?
I don't know if this is true, but I remember listening to this about a year ago. For your consideration, I think the terror does sufficiently motivate. The tracks with the glinting of the axe in the peripheral view and the Conan standing behind him. I had this experience of my father standing behind me, and then his father was bigger than him in the same thing. That shape from the we can do this. We can do this. Hold on. I'd like to, I guess. I'd like to. The shape in the Queen's Chamber of the Great Pyramid. I like to see the image of that. This right here. Can I get a enlarged shape, please? I guess I can do that. Whatever. So you're standing in this shape. You see what I'm saying? And it's behind you, so the energy will come around you. It could be fear. It could be, but you may want to, settle your fear first. The next energy's up. I would like to, for your consideration, I would like to say, let's call that all.
Events thousands of years later. What can we learn from and about this age undreamed of? Glancing briefly at the peoples of that age, the dominant Hyborians are no longer uniformly tawny-haired and gray-eyed. They have mixed with other groups, but this mixing has not weakened them. The Shemites are men of medium height with dark eyes and blue-black beards. The ruling classes of Stygia are tall men, dusky and straight-featured. The Hyrcanians are dark and generally tall and slender. The people of Nordheim retain their light skin, blue eyes, and red or yellow hair. The Picts are the same type as they always were, short, very dark with black eyes and hair. The Cimmerians are tall and powerful, with dark hair and blue or gray eyes. South of Stygia are the vast kingdoms of the Amazons, the Cushites, the Atlians, and the hybrid empire of Zimbabwe. Between Aquilonia and the Pictish wilderness lie the Bosonian Marches, peopled by descendants of an aboriginal race mixed with Hyborians. They are stubborn fighters and great archers, as they must be to have survived centuries of warfare with the barbarians to the north and west. This then was an age undreamed of, when shining kingdoms lay spread across the world like blue mantles beneath the stars. Robert E. Howard, The Hyborian Age. I never got what happened to all the Hyborians. Howard said the Cimmerians became Celts, and the Aesir and Vanir became Nords, etc., but never specified what happened to the based civilized people like the Aquilonians. Howard simply set up and revealed the universe and racial or spiritual boundaries of the Hyborian Age. What happened to them beyond the Age of Conan is beyond his revealed knowledge. The big questions for us should be, does Howard's revelation correspond to ancient history? If Howard's vision is true, what does this tell us about our current degenerate civilization, and how might we overcome it in order to better understand our pre-civilizational ancestral state? I do realize that, but I find his commentary on civilization and themes intensely dumb, and therefore just try to enjoy his settings as fun escapism. In what way do you find his commentary on civilization dumb? One might make such a claim if one were to agree with the tenets of Maoist communism. Otherwise, the idea that bureaucratic and convoluted civilizational structures are more harmful to the human spirit than our tribal structures seems completely legitimate. At the spiritual or paranormal level, Conan exemplifies the actual spirit of the noble savage. In contrast to the liberal European understanding from the 19th century, Conan understands that advanced civilization inevitably leads to corruption and stagnation. Despite being a king, he pines for the days when he was a lawless mercenary. As regulations place limits on what he can accomplish as ruler, he is emaciated. However, the responsibility of this power leads him to ultimately reject it. He would rather live as the barbarian than be subject to the arbitrary strictures of civilization. It is in his primal state that he is able to truly comprehend the metaphysical nature of reality. Yeah, it's just a fundamental disagreement. I think people suffer a lot more in tribal barbarism than a technologically advanced civilization with the rule of law. I also think civilized societies create smarter and more capable leaders compared to the barbarian kings of the Dark Ages, even in spite of corruption and hedonism. I'd defend my case by saying that even though barbarian rulers proved to be better than the vast majority of Roman nobles at the time, none compared to leaders like Marcus Aurelius or Augustus. I guess it's still good commentary, and I shouldn't call it dumb, though.
I think it's obvious from Göbekli Tepe and the rain erosion on the Sphinx, dating it to around the same period, that there was an advanced society, long before modern archaeological theories allow. You can't expect me to believe that humans have been around for 200,000 years and only managed to figure out agriculture yesterday. The details of Howard's setting aren't implausible. Maybe the names were changed, though the Cimmerians were real. I'd love it if the spirit of an ancient warrior king visited Howard and forced him to chronicle his exploits. I guess it's possible, but it could also be that Conan was an archetype or alternate version of himself created by his psyche that saw the inevitable course of modernity and presented itself in a fever dream.
This understanding seems to me to be the closest. Something about Howard's demeanor opened, contrary to his will, up to the truth regarding past human civilization, and he roughly recorded it in his stories.
Maybe Conan
is indicative of a heroic figure from this age that represents the human spirit. Those who have become enslaved to bureaucracy realize that in primitivism they find true freedom.
Might as well be Conan.
We are all reincarnated, and we have done this many times. Maybe Robert E. Howard was Conan reborn, telling his own tale.
Maybe.
We are always finding older and older remains. The issue is, beyond 10,000 years, things become difficult to find, simply due to the sea level or erosion, the ice ages, and simply how much the land has changed. Unless something is pretty much sticking right out of the ground, it's almost impossible to find unless it is blind chance. That also leaves behind anything currently underwater. Water levels were lower thousands of years in the past, and since humans often live by rivers and coasts, many settlements will be underwater.
Don't forget basic human activities. If you need stones to build something, ruins are a great source of stone. Farmers and kings have looted most of it.
Base thread. Conan Coole's stories are my favorite when it comes to fantasy, and Howard was a very gifted writer. The thing is that besides his tasteful writing style, he also poured himself into the stories, and so they're full of raw life, and also ancient mysteries. The story of his world goes back and back, so there are many unknowns. Even the ancient and immortal beings do not know what happened before their time, and wonder. He also integrated cosmic horror elements in subtle ways, often even better than his buddy Lovecraft. As for OP's idea, it isn't plausible as cute as it sounds. Kull is the proto-Conan, and Howard did many self-inserts. In fact, both characters grew out of his discontent with the current world and desire for something pure and genuine. Conan may have been an axe-bearing muse that Howard conjured to tower upon himself. As for this world's history, it goes way back, way beyond what is known. There were great civilizations before the known ones, and humans occupy just a tiny fraction of this little world's lifespan. Long before humans and the known fauna, many other kinds of beings lived here.
It's very true. That's all I got for your consideration.